the informant being identified.
Jeremy, do prosecutions often collapse like this?
It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen from time to time, particularly with drugs and terrorism cases. Clearly, the police find it extremely frustrating, but under the current rules, it's something that's very difficult to avoid.
Jeremy Ball, our Home Affairs correspondent, thank you for joining us.
Now for a look at some of the other stories in the news tonight. A critically ill Macedonian refugee is to be given life-saving surgery in the East Midlands. An appeal was started this week to help 10-year-old Ivona Olchenska after a consultant at the Queen's Medical Centre in Nottingham confirmed treatment here could save her life. The plight of the young girl was raised by army doctors who sent a brain scan to the hospital via the internet.
The Labour MP for Nottingham East, John Heppell, says he can't support his constituents in their opposition to the housing of paedophiles within Nottingham Prison. Mr Heppell says he'll be spending the next few days trying to reassure them about the Home Office plans.
And the candidates seeking to represent the East Midlands in the European Parliament have been assessing the massive thumbs down by the voters. The average turnout in the region was 23%, the lowest since MEPs were first directly elected to the Strasbourg-based Parliament. The biggest stay away from the polls was in the Labour strongholds of Leicester West, Mansfield and Nottingham North, where turnout slumped to 16%.
And there's a European election special on your BBC local radio station starting at 9 o'clock on Sunday evening. The programme will have all the results and political analysis from the region's first elections under the system of proportional representation.
Two policemen who foiled a security van robbery by chasing an armed gang under fire are being considered for a National Bravery Award. Chris Wilson and Mark Hallam were rammed and shot at as the hijackers tried to escape. Nottinghamshire's Chief Constable says they risked their lives to catch the gang.
The gang held up a security van as its guards delivered money to a bank in West Bridgford. The weapons they used included a sawn-off shotgun. Constable Wilson started chasing the van as the gang tried to escape with nearly £500,000. PC Hallam soon joined the chase.
It was quite frightening. You don't realise that it's actual bullets that are being shot at you. But as soon as the windscreen goes in and you hear the other bullets hit the car, then you realise, yeah, you better do something about this.
It was quite simple, self-preservation. I feared for my life. The only time that anything like that's ever happened before, and I hope it never repeats itself again.
Police helicopter and armed support units were directed to the scene by Constable Wilson, who relayed what was happening over his police radio. The chase continued for several miles before the three hijackers crashed. They're now serving long jail sentences. Jeremy Ball, East Midlands Today, Nottinghamshire.
More awards now, this time for a soldier who served his country more than 70 years ago. Private Jacob Rivers was awarded the Victoria Cross in the First World War, and now he's been honoured with the presentation of a certificate to a school in his native Derby.
At Derby's Nottingham Road Cemetery, the historian of the Sherwood Foresters Regiment looks at the gravestone recording the heroic deeds of Private Jake Rivers, the city's first VC. Rivers was 33 when he died in France in 1915.
He actually threw grenades at the Germans who were assembling and drove them back, and thus saved the flank of the battalion on that day.
Private Rivers was killed later that day, the bullet passing through his tobacco tin. But his bravery earned him the Victoria Cross, one of 7 local VCs being honoured by the Sherwood Foresters Regiment. Rivers' house and school have disappeared under Derby Ring Road.
Jacob didn't think, oh, I've got to look after myself here. Jacob thought of his friends.
But today at St Mary's School, the nearest where Rivers grew up, a copy of his VC was handed over to Derby's mayor in the presence of his relatives.
Our grandmother, Adeline Rivers, always, when she was older and was bedridden, always had Jacob's picture behind her bed with the medal in the frame. And so we remembered that particularly as children. And then, of course, it was handed over in 1937 to the regiment, which we were very pleased about.
The only link that's left with Jake Rivers' local community is the school. I tried to make the point to the children that this isn't dead history, and we regard him still as one of our comrades. He's a member of the regiment, he wore our cap badge, and he's still alive to us, and we hope in some way he'll still be, that the children will realise the connection between them and him.
Private Rivers relatives hope today's ceremony means the brave soldier won't be forgotten by succeeding generations. James Roberson, East Midlands Today, Derby.
Now, if you've been watching us these past few days, you'll know that all this week we've been going wild. Well, not quite us, but our environment correspondent, Dave Harper.
In the final part of his series looking at the work of wildlife volunteers, we've sent him back to school.
Well, these are some of the children at Ernhale School at Arnold in Nottingham, and today they're going wild. Come on!
Need some help planting these plants, so if you can carefully take these off me. There we go.
So what do we breathe in?
Oxygen.
And what do we breathe out?
Carbon dioxide.
What do plants breathe in?
Carbon dioxide.
And what do plants breathe out?
Oxygen.
Getting youngsters to understand the importance of the countryside and how the natural world works is a key aim of the Wildlife Trusts, and turning the playground into a classroom works every time.
Children can look at books, they can look at videos, they can work with computers, but actually seeing a live frog or working with real life plants gives them